We Sell Restaurants operate the largest restaurant brokerage company in the nation based on number of listings, transaction count, and volume. We are franchising nationwide and have offices in Florida, Colorado, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia.
We're back on the air, and we are talking to Paul Mangiamele. Did I say that right? I hope so.
You said it perfectly.
Oh, great. He's the CEO and president of Bennigan's, and that's a 35-year-old American franchise legacy brand with operators across 11 states. So tell me, Paul, how are you able to comply with different regulations both domestically and internationally when you're spread across such a broad base of business?
Well, I mean, again, it gets down to your team, and for us, I'm very lucky to have what we call the folks that are on our corporate team are so passionate. We call them that they bleed Irish green. And so the bleeding green team, in terms of all the different function areas, from the operational standards to the legal requirements, to the marketing requirements, every single discipline is looked into in terms of what are the obligations, what are the regulations, and then how do we not only meet them and comply, but then go above and beyond, so that we can deliver. Because at the end result, it's about delivering a great experience to your guests. It's about showing that your teams at the store level and your franchisees, and even your supplier partners, your vendors, are engaged and communicated with. And so, that collective communication is what enables us to stay abreast of all the recent changes, to stay ahead of the curve in some areas, whether it be sourcing product or or the latest safety procedures that must be followed.
Yeah.
And so we look at that all the time, and then again, the compliance needs to be communicated through our franchise system. And again, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's really about getting the franchisees' profile that will follow the system. The people that fail are usually the people that want to create a brand new brand, and they shouldn't have been accepted into the system in the first place, and that's where you start running into trouble. And the people that are complying with all our system requirements are the people that see success.
So, Dr. Kramer, I want to have you weigh in here because one thing that's very much at the forefront these days is this local sourcing, farm-to-table environment. As a health professional and holding a PhD, do you see that there's more issues when you're sourcing locally with specific kinds of diseases, or are you seeing that there actually tend to be better, cleaner type of originating foods?
Well, that's a loaded question. In reality, some of these large companies do an amazing job in quality control, quality assurance, food safety, laboratory testing. The issue of sustainability, the issue of local, buy seasonal, has picked up a fair amount of traction. I am always concerned when you hit Farmer Jones, who may actually be exempt from the new Food Safety Modernization Act, who does not have good agricultural practices, who does not follow good manufacturing practices, who does not have a HACCP program. When that product is put in the facility, like a market or a restaurant, versus a national brand that sources it, they have people who are very good at what they do. Having said that, there are some wonderful small organic and non-organic local makers of everything from cheeses to bread to a variety of produce that do an outstanding job, deliver an amazing product, and do have a modicum of food safety.
So then it comes back. I'm sorry, I just want to step in there because it comes back at that point to what Paul referred to earlier, which is the operator themselves and the sorts of standards that they set. And Corey, I want to get you to weigh in because you're actually on the ground. You're more tactical because you're actually training people on the ground. Obviously we're way past hairnets and gloves. So what is it that you're teaching folks when they are going to be in the trenches dealing with this food?
Well, as far as the producers, a lot of the smaller ones now are having HACCP. They have to get a HACCP certification, so they have to develop a HACCP plan. So it's not like I would say 5 years ago where if somebody decided, oh, I'm going to go onions in my backyard and I'm going to take them to the market, that doesn't work anymore.
Can you, for the listeners that are not in the industry or thinking about it, what's HACCP so they can understand that?
HACCP is a hazard analysis critical control plan. Pretty much you as the operator will sit down and say what can possibly go wrong, and if it is going to go wrong, how can I fix it? So that's the long and short answer of what HACCP is. And as I was saying,
I have to disagree that there's no requirement, believe it or not, for many operators to have HACCP plans. Most of the larger ones, the medium-sized ones, do. If they're subject to third-party audit, a lot of the companies, like a Bennigan, may say, if you want to sell to us, you need to get a third-party audit. And part of that, even if they're fairly small, will be to have a HACCP plan.
Okay, so this is a first for the restaurant brokers because we've got some disagreement on the panel. Are you speaking from experience, Corey, with some local individuals that you interact with that
Yes,
they're
I am.
voluntarily submitting?
They're being required by the state of Georgia to have HACCP certifications if they're going just to do pasteurization. Perfect example, a young lady has a juice company, and because she's pasteurizing juice, she had to get a HACCP certification just to get her state license.
Wow, that is great.
That is absolutely correct. However, if that same person, instead of making juice, and again, there's some good reasons why we have some specialized juice regulations after numerous outbreaks. But if you look at a lot of different types of commodities, we get calls all the time from smaller operators.
Okay, Dr. Kramer, I'm going to have to cut you off right there so we can head into the break. We want to thank for a moment our sponsors for today's show, which is Today's Restaurant News. Today's Restaurant News, the food service industry newspaper, is the trade newspaper for Georgia and Florida and has positioned itself as the total marketing solution to sell or buy a restaurant. We'll return after the break. This is Eric and Melvin Gagnon. We are the Restaurant Brokers, and we're talking restaurant regulations this week.